Sometimes the greatest love we will ever receive comes from a hut that cannot speak. A boy disappeared during a brutal winter storm in Colorado. Search teams gave up after 3 days. But one dog refused to leave the forest, and what rescuers found beside that dog made the entire town cry. In a small mountain town in Colorado, nestled among snow-covered peaks, lived 12-year-old Ethan Walker. Ethan was quiet, thoughtful, and loved the outdoors more than anything. He wasn't a boy drawn to crowds or noisy games. He found peace in the forests, where the snow muffled the world's noise, and his best friend wasn't another cadet, was his golden retriever. Buddy wasn't just a pet. He was Ethan's shadow. Every morning, the dog waited at the door until Ethan came out. Every afternoon, Buddy ran down the road to meet Ethan after school, and every evening, they wandered the pine forest behind their house, exploring the trails and sitting quietly by the river. Ethan had lost his father 2 years earlier. His mother, Sarah, worked long hours at a diner. It was just Ethan and Buddy, and together they created their own world. But one winter afternoon, everything changed. A heavy snowstorm rolled across the mountains. The Weather Service issued warnings. Stay inside! But Ethan's school science project required photographs of animal tracks, and he refused to let a little snow stop him. He grabbed his camera. Buddy, as always, followed. At first, it was a simple walk. 30 minutes maybe, on a war, but the storm intensified rapidly. Snow whipped through the trees. The wind howled like a wild beast. Trails disappeared beneath thick layers of white. The forest Ethan knew so well became an unrecognizable maze. By the time night fell, he was lost. The cold bit through his jacket, numbing fingers and toes. Buddy stayed close, warmth radiating from his thick golden coat, but even the dog could not guide him back in the blinding storm. At home, Sarah waited anxiously. When an hour passed, then 2, then 3. Panic set in. The sheriff and a team of searchers were called. Helicopters roared overhead. Search dogs sniffed the snow. Flashlights cut through the darkness. But the storm was merciless. Visibility dropped to mere feet. 3 days passed. 3 days of endless searching, but no boy was found. Finally, the sheriff approached Sarah. "I'm so sorry," he said. "The chances of surviving those temperatures are almost zero." The town lost hope. Everyone except Buddy. The dog never returned home. He ran into the forest each day, barking, digging, lying down, and then repeating it over and over. He refused to leave the area where Ethan was lost. Searchers noticed something incredible. Buddy wasn't aimlessly wandering. He was searching, protecting, waiting. Finally, the rescuers decided to follow him deeper into the forest. Hours passed. Their boots sank into knee-deep snow. Cold wind whipped their faces. And then, as the sun broke through the clouds in a fleeting ray, they found a fallen pine tree with a small pocket beneath it. Inside, the pocket was Ethan, weak, shivering, barely conscious but alive. And wrapped around him, protecting him from the freezing cold, was Buddy. For 3 nights and 3 days, Buddy had lain on top of Ethan, shielding him from the snow and wind, revsing food, revsing rest, refusing to leave his best friend. Doctors said something incredible. Without Buddy, he would have frozen to death the first night. At the hospital, Ethan slowly regained consciousness. His first words weren't about the storm, the snow, or fear. "Buddy, is he okay?" Outside the hospital, Buddy waited faithfully. When Ethan was wheeled out, the reunion was almost unbearable. The dog leaped, barked, and licked Ethan's face with unrestrained joy. Tears ran down the faces of everyone watching. But the story doesn't end there. Over the following weeks, as Ethan recovered, their bond grew even deeper. Buddy never left his side, not in the hospital, not in the car, not even during therapy sessions. The boy who had nearly been taken by the winter storm had discovered something far more profound. Unconditional love. Each morning, Ethan whispered to Buddy, "Thank you for never leaving me." And each time, the dog's tail thumped softly, as if replying, "I'll always be here." Their story became the talk of the town. Children visiting the hospital saw the bond between human and animal, and it inspired everyone. People spoke of loyalty, courage, and the quiet, unspoken acts that define true love. Even months later, Ethan never forgot that the one who saved him wasn't a human. It was a golden retriever who had risked everything, faced the storm, and stayed by his side when hope seemed lost. Sometimes, the greatest heroes don't wear uniforms. They don't have capes. They simply stay, patiently, quietly, without complaint, giving everything to protect the ones they love. True loyalty isn't measured by words. It's measured by presence, courage, and love in the hardest times. Animals often teach us the purest forms of devotion, and sometimes they save lives in ways humans cannot. If you had a friend like Buddy, would you remain as loyal to them as they were to you? Could you risk everything to protect someone you love?